Welcome, friends, to Let's Play Rule the Waves 3 as Germany. Starting in 1935, it's April 1961. It's episode 102. Crikey. And we are at the start of a lovely big battle where the Royal Navy seems to have committed itself too early before its new French friends have been able to come and lend a hand. So let's complete the gutting of the Royal Navy and see if that doesn't, one, improve our unrest at home by a stunning series of victories, and two, make the British think more seriously about the whole peace thing, even with the help of France, and three, possibly sink a few British ships so that the blockade that they've been able to impose on us with French aid comes to stop. Let's have a look at the situation. I just thought before we would begin that I would just help orientate you with these groups of islands in the Norwegian Sea. Well, Norwegian Sea over here, North Atlantic Ocean over here. So you have Orkney off the tip of Scotland, where Scapa Flow, the British base, major base in World War I and World War II, is. You have Shetland Isles to the northeast of that. And then up here you have the Faroe Isles. They're part of Denmark, which, don't want to make a contentious political point, but Denmark, right? Not, available for invasion by other countries. So typically these, although they're very, very rocky, would have air bases, but I don't believe the game allows you to put stuff onto either Faroe or onto Shetland, which is good for us, because as you can see, we are about to enter into this little bit of a triangle. The weather is fine. It's cloudy. It's breezy. Sighting is 27,000. The wind, as I mentioned last time, is that way. So we have to go that way to launch our aircraft, which is not ideal. Obviously, because it draws us further and further towards to the British, but the carriers are up over here, so that's quite a bit of legroom. So let's just zoom into the battle cruisers, because if the British are suddenly and unexpectedly going to materialize a few thousand yards away, as the game generator sometimes does, this is the place where that's going to happen. So I'm just going to push it forward a minute or two at a time just to check for any of that nonsense. And so, no, nothing obvious, which is nice. Recon's taking off, also nice. Just a couple more minutes. More recons and things. If you notice it telling me that the helicopters have taken off, that would be interesting to know, because, again, I don't really know how the helicopters operate. I know in Doctrine, I think I have prefer float planes and helicopters set. But yeah. Okay, so there's nothing nearby, which is good. So I'm going to push it up to 5 minutes at a time and just zoom out, because what I'm really interested in seeing is those first all-important reports of something somewhere. Oh, that's a very long 5 minutes. I forgot to set the ultra fast. So the strikes that we had set in order to anticipate finding something, aha, have been set. So there we go. An entire destroyer has been spotted here. Presumably by this reconnaissance. Just checking how far. I can't actually go to the reconnaissance and see how far. So that's 142, and that's 138. Oh, okay. So it's actually not very far away, like 4 miles away or something like that. Okay. There's another reconnaissance there. Let's just come back up to here. So that's of interest, obviously, but not necessarily the most interesting. We would like to see something more than a lone destroyer before we get too excited. and push it again. So yeah, nothing too. Oh, another lone destroyer and another lone destroyer. So one here, and one here. So something between Orkney here and Shetland up there. But as ever, a lone destroyer, not that useful. So well done, Recon from Bergen and from Stavanger. But nothing to get excited by just yet. No, yeah. These are, of course, all originally Viking islands, and the Viking influence still very much there. And for a long time, this was part of a Viking kingdom until the Middle Ages. Oops, something got spotted there. That was possibly us. So still nothing more than these lone destroyers. Ah ha 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 ha. Okay. So way out here from Stavanger, a CVL and 2 destroyers. Now, if I go to my carriers to here, that is 358 nautical miles, so quite a way away. So I'm not going to immediately get too excited. There's the little recon, that red dot there. So well done, guys. And obviously it is getting late, or later. There's only, 2 hours and 15 minutes before dusk arrives. Ah, okay. So they're counter-scouting us with this medium bomber, a Dantorp. Never heard of a Dantorp, which our cap has damaged. So well done, guys. So whether that's just from Scapa Flow airbase, I'm not sure, but yeah, they will be presumably aware of us. Nothing more on the reports. So I'm just doing 5 minutes at a time and just double checking the reports every so often, least I don't notice something. Yep, still nothing. Okay, so it's looking like this is going to be a nighttime affair. Okay, there's another report of a destroyer, which is here. So if we just zoom out, we have destroyers here, 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 and here, and the light carrier and a couple of destroyers back over there. So if I go to the battle cruisers and to here, they are at 118 nautical miles distance, and they are 200 nautical miles from the carriers. Now, that is in strike distance, and I could send at least, one carrier's worth of strike over there to see what's what and try and sort that one out. So let me just have a ponder. So my pondering has come up with, if it were 2, I would probably send a strike, but just 1 makes no sense, and could just be a corvette or something, as people sometimes like to do. So yeah, it is heading towards, which obviously is a thing, or at least that's the report. I asked about the helicopters. Well, there they are. So the Ju-226 lands on DD1 and on Scharnhorst and on Gneisenau. Well, those are our helicopters. So well done, helicopters. I might just redo their scouting just to send them out again. So there's a scouting pattern for them. I think I'm just going to extend it down to the south, like that, just to capture anything coming from any of these dots. And let's get okay with that. And let's see if that sends them back off once they've been refueled and stuff. So, yep, still no more reports. Let's zoom back in. Yeah, no actual thing, so far as I can tell. Readying strike from DD3, mechanical issues. That's a helicopter as well. Obviously, DD3 being a destroyer doesn't actually have a proper plane. Cap from Reykjavik. So I have requested, let me just go back here. Yeah, I did request Cap. So I'm slightly surprised it's coming from Reykjavik rather than from Bergen or Trondheim. But okay, all Cap is good Cap. So yeah, a little bit cat and mouse. Where are they? And here comes Dusk. And yeah, another lands on Hipper, Junkers 226. So, you know, and one takes off. Hooray! So yeah, the helicopters are working. I'm very pleased at that. Easy to overlook. So yeah, more stuff. Cap landing and things, but still no more reports. And so there's Dusk, and might just have to have a little bit of a thought about this since we've still found nothing. Sunset is going to be in 55 minutes because we're in the far north. So the further towards the equator you go, the shorter dusk is. But in these conditions in April, dusk is quite a protracted affair. It doesn't give a sighting range for dusk. So it's going from 27,000 down to 4,000. If it's a sophisticated model, then it will be going down 27,000, 23,000, 19,000, something like that, rather than 27,000, 4,000. So I hope it's sophisticated, but yeah, what should I do? So when in doubt, re-evaluate your search patterns. So I've just extended from Stavanger to include where that reported CVL was and make sure that night search is on, because for reasons probably of stupidity, I didn't have night search on for my carriers, and yet for my helicopters I did. I don't know if the helicopters are night capable. It wouldn't surprise me if they're not. And also just tweak Bergen. So again, push Bergen's air search out to 500 nautical miles, again to cover this supposed CVL. And night search is on. Then good old Trondheim, I think, is going to be largely out of the action, but let's tweak them. So sorry, did I say Bergen? For Narvik, I'm pushing it out to 750. I hope they can do that kind of distance. Actually, I mean, let's go to 800 just to conform it. And as you can see, this is a giant piece of sea area, and you can see the curvature of the Earth here coming into play. Respect to the map model to be fine with that. So that's very much kind of like a backstop. And then if we do Reykjavik as well, we'll send 4 out. I mean, this one is probably unnecessary, and indeed that one is as well. But you know, I have the aircraft, I have the ability to look that far, so why wouldn't you just, you know, just in case, do some of that? 650 miles, that takes them to include my force, so that's fine. So that's the searching reset, and all on their best nighttime toes. So all we need is for some enemy to appear. And they're not appearing. Now, I guess this all could be... Oh, okay. Still with the single destroyers. So where are you? There's that one. So that's very close to a previous report. That was at 4:20. This is just gone 7:30. And then that one. So, yeah. So over here, whoops, and over here. So those are the old report, new report, old report, new report. So yes, there definitely is a lone submarine, a lone destroyer out in those two directions. Whether they really represent anything of interest is, I think, moot. I'm going to say not. This is by far and away the most interesting, but we still haven't seen that resolve into anything else. So again, I'm going to hold fire. I'd be greatly disappointed if this battle turns out to be nothing, because I've really set myself up after the last one to just, go hammering in. But you can't hammer unless there's, something to hammer. So let's see if the British provide a suitable anvil on which my crushing hammer. Oh, okay. So that says it's a transport. And if the mission was something like go and here it is, objectives. Just says large engagement. I think it just said go sink more of them than they sink of you equals victory kind of thing. So yeah, there's that, but it's a lone thing. Nice that we're picking up stuff. Caps fly off, caps fly back on in the usual wharf and weft of these things. So my cap has attacked one more of these Dantorp naval strikes. Okay. And that's 4 of them. So they are actually attacking us somewhere. Let's see if we can spot where this is. So here are the carriers. So no, all I can see is actually, I'm just going to call it an entire forest of cap. We've got here and here and here and here and here and here, and our super fighters, the Arados there, and some more Messerschmitts and more Messerschmitts and more Messerschmitts and another Arado as well. I mean, I wouldn't want to be chancing my arm through that lot. So no, it's not there. And I'm not seeing anything around the battle cruisers. So it must be the carriers. Let's just push it on a minute and see how the cap does. So this implies to me, okay, it is the carriers. This implies to me that the only forces around are medium bombers, which can only have come from the airbase at Scapa Flow. This is not a carrier attack. So yeah, let's see how this does. So we shoot one down and we engage the other 3 with cap as well. Okay, here they are in the map. So ooch, right in there. So I'm sort of surprised that there's no AA defenses, no SAMs and stuff going up. But let's see what happens next. We shoot one down and we damage with more cap. So I think there's only one surviving out of the strike. And then up goes the SAMs. So here at the tip of the arrow are the 2 medium bombers, the Dantorps. So you can see they've flown right over the top of my big carriers, not to mention many of my cruisers and what have you. So only at that point, after they've launched their missiles, have the SAMs engaged. So I can't say I'm happy about that. They've launched their missiles here at Manfred von Richthofen, which, okay, is better because at least, it's one of the smaller carriers. So if that gets damaged, then I won't be too upset. I'm just, mildly peeved. And then, 2 heavy SAMs from Gneisenau, 2 heavy SAMs from Scheer. Now, the heavy SAMs are supposed to engage enemy aircraft before they dropped their missiles, and they obviously didn't hear. And then 2 medium SAMs from Stuttgart, 2 medium from Prince Eugen, and 2 medium from München. And all of those 10 missiles all didn't hit. So that's a bit underwhelming. Let's see what the consequences are. Well, so far, so good. We damage one, although I thought we'd already damaged most of them, and one gets shot down. Could obviously be the same one. And then another one shot down, so presumably they've all been shot down. And we're not hearing anything about the missiles against von Richthofen. And that seems to have been it. And we all just sail on calmly. Okay, phew. Still, a good performance from the Cap. Well done, chaps. Underwhelming performance from the surface-to-air missiles. Both very late and obviously missing. So just underscores the value again and again of good Cap. And as you can see, we've got excellent Cap here. So here is Darkness, my old friend. So yes, let me just push it 1 minute more, and it'll tell me, oh no, still. And yeah, so 7 hours and 20 minutes. That's what I wanted to hear. 7 hours and 20 minutes of Darkness. So not too bad, actually. Not too bad. So the question arises, what do we do? Just check there's been no more reports. Okay, there's been another and another. So these two are transport, probably the same transport, and then a destroyer around here, a destroyer around here, a reported destroyer that's never been reconfirmed here, a reported CVL, and 2 destroyers here that's never been reconfirmed. So really, really weak. And so the question for me is what to do now? Okay, so I've drawn out 3 different colored paths of possibilities. So the red arrows are just carry on. Just carry on until you find something. Something's bound to turn up, and then you can sink it. It's bold. Obviously, we move further and further away from our bases. We move further and further away from extra scouting from the Norwegian coast, although we do sort of move closer to Iceland's scouting. So yeah, that's the bold one. The semi-bold one is the green, the carriers keep on advancing, but we just turn the battlecruisers back towards the carriers to just narrow this gap. This gap is about 80, 90, 100 nautical miles. So it's a few hours steaming at good range. And yeah, we might, then eventually turn the battlecruisers back again and just be ahead of the carriers by a bit. So that's definitely a thing. And then the cautious one is the blue, where we just turn them back during the night and then take it easy. I mean, everybody's at cruising speed and all of that kind of stuff anyhow. And just, keep out of any trouble. We've had the 1 air attack, however ineffective it was. And yeah, then come dawn or before dawn, we turn them back into a bold move again. I mean, they're all viable. If I was a cautious admiral, I would definitely choose the blue. Because there's no target. There's no, night battles are a knife fight. And although we do have night scouting and it's a lot better than it used to be, we've seen in previous battles that the identification of who the hell you're targeting is absolutely dreadful. It would be unidentified target versus unidentified target. And you just, you never quite know what you're doing. So why take the risk when there's no immediate prize to capture? So yeah, what's about that? The red option is attractive just because if we can't find something here, let's just carry on until we can find something. Yeah, it's taking us away from Norway, but, you know, the battle generator might have spawned us in the Bay of Biscay off the coast of France or something like that. It's more than capable, where we only have our own resources, and our own resources in this fleet are substantial. So no real reason not to. And the green option, yeah. It seems... So I'm against the green option, and I'm against the green option because part of the advantage of having the battle cruisers out 80, 90, 100 nautical miles ahead of the carriers is that they do provide this target. They are, you know, they're the cloak to the sword of the carriers. I've gone a bit matador there, in which the Royal Navy becomes the bull. So the bull charges the cloak of the battle cruisers, and the carriers then, who are, you know, pretty strong and capable of taking some damage, as we've seen in past analysis, and then the carriers come in and strike with their mighty airstrike swords. Other metaphors are available. So I think that means I'm probably going to go with the red. Let me know in the comments what you might have done. Bold red, safe blue, or tightening together green. Right. Let's push it on then. And I'm just going 5 minutes at a time, just to see. Still no new reports. Oh, hello. Ah, right. Of course there are 4 destroyers there. Okay. So that is a target. So let's get busy with that. First thing I'm going to do is launch some airstrikes from the carriers, and then I'm going to attend to the battle cruisers. Let me just see how far away they are from the battle cruisers. They are 22 nautical miles, so just outside radar range. If I can organize the helicopters to go and have a strike at that with some light air-to-surface missiles, how much fun would that be? You know, there is a lot of thing that helicopters aren't worth it. They're too expensive. I think that the helicopters in their multi-mission capabilities are worth it, but it would be lovely, lovely, lovely to see that come true. Okay, so I've launched my helicopters. I don't think they're night capable. This might have been an unwise thing to do. But, you know, what the heck. I've launched some strikes from Flug 3 and Flug 2, and I've readied them on the big carriers on Flug 1, but I'll keep them on my back pocket. It's only 4 destroyers so far. So they should be arriving at around about 9:40, 9:30 kind of time. At the moment, it is 8:40. So about an hour's time for those guys. Surprisingly, everything was unready. Now, I definitely readied stuff at the beginning. So whether there's like a time limit on readiness, which kind of would make sense. You can't have pilots in planes all the time, all fueled and stuff. And, you know, they've got to go for the toilet and have a little meal. And of course, you know, you've got the caps launching and taking off all the time. So, yeah, fair enough, I guess. But a little bit confusing. So that's got the air stuff sorted. Let's sort out these guys. And, now, question here is, do I actually chase down these destroyers, reported destroyers, with my battle cruisers and my actual cruisers and my destroyers and whatnot? And my hesitation is, you know what? actually, I'm much more of a valuable target than the enemy is, assuming the enemy really is, as advertised, 4 destroyers. So why would I give the British the opportunity to, say, sink a battlecruiser when my opportunity is simply to sink some destroyers? So, yeah. So do I split the force and maybe send my own force of destroyers, perhaps with a couple of cruisers, and keep the battle cruisers in back pocket? I've kind of gone to like Battle of Heligo Bight scenario back in the First World War, where, first of all, tiny light forces, destroyers had a little bit of tangle, and then some light cruisers came in to support the destroyers, and then eventually the battle cruisers came in to support, and it's that kind of engagement rather than just charging in with the battle cruisers and putting them at unnecessary risk for the gain that's possible. So yeah, I think that's my thinking. Send some destroyers, support them with some cruisers, and keep the battle cruisers in to lend support when that becomes necessary. Okay, let's just zoom in on my arrangements here. So we have the Scharnhorst, which is on its own, and we have its friendly destroyers. So I'm sending them to directly intercept. I have the battlecruisers here, obviously. I'm making sure that the Panderborn and its scouts get ahead of the Graf Spee and the rest, because it's a little bit close. And likewise, the Breslau and its friends pushed forward to make sure, and then bringing some of the destroyers in as screens. So yeah, push out let me show this. Okay, so sort of this arrangement. So scouting lines ahead of the advancing battlecruisers that are staying close. So at any time they could go south to lend support. This also allows these destroyers to, if they change course or get any sense, send the Scharnhorst and its destroyers down on a intercept mission, assuming the destroyers just stay on this course. So that's the plan. Well, it's a plan. I mean, technically it's probably my plan. So let's just see how that goes. I'm going to push it just a minute at a time for the moment and see what happens. Let's just occasionally check back on the reports just to see if we get any other reports coming along. Big problem for the battlecruisers is, although I've sent them on, let's just put the radar. So the radar should, from the lead destroyers, should be starting to pick up whether these things exist or not. Not picking up anything at the moment. Ha! We have contact. Can't see where we have contact, so I'm going to have to zoom in. Oh, there's a whole final strike from the Peterstrasse. So it's, yeah, okay, well done. They got there in good time. So let's say select no to keep the target location. I'm going to say no. So there's been some discussion. Do you move this to where you think it is? So the discussion is that it's putting the crosshairs here, and there's the radar contact, by the way. And the suggestion is that, well, first of all, they're in the sky, and so they'll easily spot it. I mean, it is nighttime technically, so certainly visually that would be problematic, but perhaps they have radar, and that it automatically moves this crosshair to wherever the position was. Now, the position for this said that it was going in a southeasterly direction, and clearly from where it's gone here, it's gone slightly northwest. I'm going to say no and just see how that works out. I also noticed that we've been spotted by enemy aircraft. So that's a bit of a boo. And we have some caps engaging 5 jet attack goblins. So whether that's for the battle cruisers or not, I'm not quite sure. So I'm going to say no here and see if that has any impact, because I feel that technically it should be there, but perhaps that's just too small to make any difference. I'm going to say no to that as well. So if we just zoom in and see, okay, so there's, I can't see the planes, but there's the unidentified ship, unsurprisingly. So we'll deal with that. I don't know if this is for the carriers or not. I probably won't be able to work it out. Oh. So no, I'm going to say. This is the carriers. By the way, I've just counted 22 different bits of cap flying. Wow. And that's medium cap, right? So it's not even max cap. That's a huge number. So no, I don't know where these goblins are attacking. I'm just having a quick look at what missiles can engage. I didn't notice the range. This is actually in yards. So 388,000 yards is approximately about 190 nautical miles. 143,000 yards is about 71 nautical miles, which is a bit more respectable. Let me have a think about how to engage these. Okay, so thinking about 1 has suddenly been superseded by thinking about 4. So 4, okay, that's a proper thing. And we will be loosing some missiles. We already have some helicopters trying to take off and do something. Maybe, maybe not. And a small strike. I'll probably keep the small strike going and just ready another one. You know, 4 destroys is a thing, but it's not like a massive thing. And yeah, it seems like we should welcome these guys. So from the lead, well, from Z120, they are only 18,000 yards away. So missiles away, chaps. So let's bring up the whole missile thing. Okay, so looking at the moment, only Z121 and 120 are in missile range of that ship. Only, I'm ignoring the submarines for the moment. Z121 at this one and at that one. So I'm going to have to be a little bit careful. So for this one, I want to fire half, because only Z121 can get these back ones. So let's fire half at that one. Sorry, I thought I said half. And then, yeah, I definitely said half. Okay, so they've loosed all of them. Thanks, guys. Okay, so only Z120 now has any left. So let's ignore that. Let's go to this forward one, and let's see if we can fire 1. Fire 1, exclamation mark. 1 missile fired. Let's fire nothing at that. Can't fire anything at that. Let's fire 1 at that. Oh, sorry. Click. Okay, 1, and let's fire another one. Let's go back to the first one and fire 1. Yeah, no idea why the half wasn't respected, but at least firing 1 was. So those are away from those 2. Obviously, Z87 here and the Scharnhorst here should be in range pretty quickly. I mean, 24,000 yards away. Let's just check on the whole gun thing. So that's just shy of 20,000 yard range with the 9-inch guns. So that's fine. 6 of them, they're all forward facing, so hooray. And yeah, they have some stuff as well. Let's crank these up in speed. So they're going full, but the Scharnhorst, I think, needs to probably go maximum -2, which is 27. Battle cruisers tootling along at 22. So I'm going to take the Breslau, and I'm just going to send her southwards. I'm going to keep the battle cruisers. How far away are they? So they're at 38,000 yards. They are within radar, so they might fire their guns. So yeah, let's just push that on a minute and see what we get to. Oh, well, there go the missiles. Enemy aircraft approaching Flug 1. Whoops. So we have the Scharnhorst getting into radar contact with these people. Let me just see if that makes their missiles available. Oh, and some more ships have appeared. Okay, so that's, oops. So 87 can now shoot at some of these. Right. So this seems to be like a line. When I just zoom it in, yeah. So here are 3 bigger ships, here are 3 smaller ships. So I'm going to call these cruisers. And that now does seem like an attractive target. A medium gun against Z121, so that sounds quite cruisery. I'm going to take these guys, they're in scouts. So let's take them into support and out of screen and into line ahead. And start to turn them south. We don't need them to get duffed up by medium guns too quickly. Obviously the Scharnhorst, who are now 23,000 yards, is still not quite in range. And this now is an occasion for the big boys, as I want to call them, to head down south as well and start to take an interest in what I'm going to call a very viable target. So that's what we've got going all of a sudden. Oh, yeah, and the battlecruiser has been spotted by aircraft, and there's some enemy approaching the first Flug. I should really learn to count in German. You know, you take the trouble to go Panzerkampfwagen, but nobody can say 1, 2, 3 in German. So, you know, it's a thing. Apologies to the tardiness of my German friends who speak such immaculate English. So just checking on who is in missile range. So Z87 back here has this ship, and not that one, but this one. So these destroyers in range, but I'm kind of more interested in the cruisers. So I'm just going to hold off 1 minute on Z87 and see what happens with that. So there goes a couple of missile hits. Well done, everyone. Okay, and the cap devastates a jet attack goblin strike with, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shot down and 2 damaged. So that's nice. I'm going to just increase the Scharnhorst to maximum speed whilst it's closing the range. And I might just do the same for the battlecruisers whilst we're at it. This seems like a nice prize to get involved with. Let's again check on the missile situation. Notice some of them have sort of got cloaked a little bit. Actually, I'm just seeing if there's any intelligence, because the unidentified ships say unidentified ships, but this one says unidentified ship on fire. Okay, that's good. So I won't be targeting that. Okay, so Z87 can attack this presumed cruiser here. It can hit this on fire ship here, and it can attack this more northerly, I'm going to call it a destroyer. So I think I'm minded to fire at least one missile at this destroyer. Oh. And then another one at the destroyer. And then back on the cruiser, I will fire the other two. Obviously, it'll need to just maneuver slightly because it's changing its facing to the new formation. Ooh, oops. Let's hope Z-87 looses off its missiles before. Okay. So we currently, well, yes, it does seem to have fired its missiles because no missiles available other than the SSGs. And the Scharnhorst is 20,000 yards away from the lead cruiser. The cruisers are, well, in fact, the destroyer, actually, I'm not sure, duffing up these destroyers a bit. So yes, the arrival of the Scharnhorst will be welcome. I'm going to target the Scharnhorst slightly to the north since they are bending that way. There goes some missiles. And the Scharnhorst does open fire on unidentified ship. And lucky, here come the cavalry to see if we can push this over the edge. Let's just see if that's okay. So now the Scharnhorst is in range for its missiles. So let me just have a little think how to distribute those. So this is the destroyer on fire. They all seem to be slightly retreating. Looking at the fluffs of smoke here, it looks like the Scharnhorst is firing at the lead cruiser, which is very much what I would want it to do. In fact, let me just double check that. Oh, maybe not. So the Scharnhorst will get into operation pretty damn soon. So the Scharnhorst can fire at that lead cruiser, and I think should. Again, because we haven't got too many missiles until this lot arrives, I will fire 1 and 2 and keep the other 2 for one of these other cruisers. And there goes some missile hits. Oh dear for Z-87. We'll have a quick look at how they are doing. Okay, it's taken a superstructure hit, flooding 31, so on fire 2, so we're absolutely going to detach 87 and send it away from danger. And bring its speed down to damage control sorts of speed. Godspeed Z-87. Let's hope you're fine with this. I'm going to bring the Breslau round to actually this kind of direction and see the... So the battle cruisers are currently 20,000 yards away, so that should put them in sort of firing arc. I'm just going to flatten out their approach in order to bring all of their guns into some sort of firing position. For the Breslau, I'm going to take it off scouting and put it into support and off screen and into line ahead so that it gets a bit more organized. The destroyers I'll keep for screening at the moment. Obviously that can get in the way of gunnery a bit, but otherwise that's fine, and let's carry on. So all 4 of the Scharnhorst's missiles hit, I believe, and 1 hit on Z-87. So now these 2 ships, the cruiser and that destroyer, are reportedly on fire. Obviously the intelligence is limited at this point, but yeah, hopefully that's enough. And we'll just watch anxiously for the progress of Z-87. Okay, I've just had a quick zoom out because, yeah, there's a little fun destroyer cruiser action going on with the battle cruisers and things, but it's easy, super easy to lose wider situational awareness. So actually those 4 destroyers reported there is the last report that I had. So single destroyer down here, single destroyer down there, a transport down there. Many, many moons ago, a carrier, a light carrier, a couple of destroyers reported down there. So I've just reinvigorated the searches from the carriers, from Stavanger, from Bergen, from Narvik up the top, and from Reykjavik, in order to just make sure that whatever we find, if there's something to find. But if not, well, that's great. I mean, if there's nothing else, we are wildly overpowered against what I'm calling 3 cruisers and 4 destroyers in these various blobs here. So that's what's going on. Let's just have a little look at the old missiles and see what we can do. So now we are in range of a variety of them. So I need to just reconsider what to do. So first of all, I'm going to do the old, actually just zoom in a bit more and hover over and see what we've got. So we've got the lead one is hit and obviously on fire. The second and third are fine. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. And this is on fire. That's on fire. So these 2 are on fire. Maybe others, but you know, that's the minimal thin gruel of intelligence that we have at the moment. So probably it's time to take a look at not them, they're on fire, certainly them, and get into that. So the Scharnhorst is the closest, and they have 2 missiles left. So let's fire those 2 against that one. And then against this one here, we could pick from the destroyers. It was just a button to say, remove any who, don't have any more missiles. But I'm going to choose the Breslau again. That's the closest. So I'm going to fire half. Watch, half. I bet you it fires them all. See? Okay, that's a bit weird. So the half button, certainly, now I am in this legacy version, so perhaps that's a bug that's been fixed in later versions. I will upgrade to newer versions once this playthrough has done. So, okay, but I'm fine with that. 4 against a cruiser, very worthwhile. Okay, let's see what we can do versus these 3 undamaged ships. Okay, I'm going to pick Z113, and I'm going to fire 1 missile. And then I'm going to fire another missile, functionally equivalent to half. Okay, that's against that target. This one, we don't have anybody because the Breslau loosed off all of its missiles, but there'll be somebody soon. And ditto that one, but that one's already on fire. So it's just this one that still needs some missiles, and we will contribute the rest of Z113's missiles and get them loosed off. And then we'll leave it for another minute and see what that does. Also, I'm just keen to see if anybody is not moving. Okay, so they're all moving. Okay, a lot happening. So obviously, missiles away. Z87 limits its flooding, so well done, guys. Z87 is leading a bit of a charmed life here, so it's got a missile incoming, but that was overflown, and then another one, which was also overflown. A missile passes by the Scharnhorst and has a missile overflown, and then 87 has an overflown missile, and then finally a near miss by a missile. So 87 must be going, woo! Also, we've got the Graf Spee, the Graf Straffenburg, and the Von der Tam have all opened fire on unidentified targets. So that's nice. as well as the Scharnhorst, which is also nice. In fact, the Scharnhorst gets a hit. Let's just widen that out. And Breslau has open fire and takes a hit as well from a medium gun. So I will just adjust the gun distances in a minute, but I'm going to go back and look at the missile firing opportunities. Okay, so this cruiser is on fire, or reportedly on fire, but is still moving in formation. So that, in my mind, makes it a legitimate target. I'm going to use Z109, which is 15,000 yards away. I'm going to fire one and fire another one. Oh, well, it will fire in a moment. So that's that one taken care of. And the next one in line. It's a shame you can't sort these by range. But similar drill from 134. So one, another one. Hopefully it's ready. Did that? Another one. Okay. And then the third one, likewise. And 134 again, and we'll fire one and a final one. Oh, it seems to like. Yeah, when I do one, it unselects. That's a bit annoying. And then for this destroyer, we're going to go for Z110. Fire one. All right, so when it fires, it doesn't lose the select, but when it says it has to turn and stuff, it does or doesn't. I don't know, it's very inconsistent. Anyhow, that's that one taken care of. This one also seems like it probably should receive some attention, so we will carry on with a couple more for them. Oops. For them. Okay, and they'll fire next turn. This one, let me just close. Is this the one on fire? No, that's the one on fire. So this one still seems to be an active target, even though it is withdrawing quite a bit. So that one. So let's do 134 if they haven't fired. Fire once, 134, and fire again. So hopefully that's most people. And I'm just going to take a look at poor old 87 here, see how well that's doing. Still only the one hit. Did the near miss register? So flooding limited, well done. Flooding's down to 5. Detached, fire started. Fire's still at level 2. I mean, it's not having a great time, but it's doing the best it can under the circumstances. So pretty happy with that. It does have reloads, so it is reloading, and it's going to take a long while. So ideally, like 40 minutes or something, ideally it will maybe recover itself and join the action later. You never know. I mean, probably not. I'm going to check the range because obviously Breslau was hit, so we are close enough now from Breslau. We are, 13,800 yards. And from these boys, we are 17,000 yards. So they can definitely straighten out. No need for them. Ditto. Actually, I'm just going to put these on AI control for the moment. These are thumping along at 27. They don't have to do that anymore. We are in the zone. And likewise for the Breslau. They are at -2 already. And the Scharnhorst. So I feel the Scharnhorst should come down and join these guys. These guys can slow down. At least they actually there's 25. The Scharnhorst is at 27. So it's, yeah, put them at 25 so the Scharnhorst can just catch up a little bit with them. Okay, let's see what that does by pushing on the minutes. So, formation's ready for the strike. I think there might be just a couple more, so I will launch the strike. So there's a hit. Great. And Van der Tan has scored a hit. I'm not sure why Reichsgraf isn't firing. Oh, I think it's just in there, I think. It's just being masked by Stauffenberg, so I'm sure that will sort itself out very shortly. Stoutly, these guys, actually, they're just beginning to turn. Or not. And 3 hits there. Don't know if this sudden puff of black smoke equals there was a ship there and there isn't any more, but there seems to be only 2 cruisers left. So yeah, that's... And yeah, more strikes ready, more missile hits. Excellent. And Stauffenberg does a big hit as well. So yeah, this black smoke looks very much like one of the cruisers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so 4 destroyers. That's on fire. That's not. That's on fire. That's not. That's on fire. And that's not. Okay, time to have a little look at the missiles again and see if we can encourage some of these on-fire ships to, I don't know, catch fire. Okay, let's fire a couple from the Stettin. If I just move this over here. Okay, 1 and 2, that's nice. And possibly against this as well. Oh, strangely enough, the Stettin isn't in range of that. Okay. And then this ship would seem like a good target for Z-130. A couple of missiles fired at that. And let's introduce 135. 135 again. That one, we will use the Stettin because that's the only one in range. Okay, that should, I think, sort out the men from the boys. Lots of missiles loosed. Graf Spee hits, I think, this lead ship with 2 16-inch shells. That's gotta hurt. No one likes that. And these guys, right, so I think the carriers should be mainly ready. 3 hits by missiles. So, yeah, 3 hits, and Grafs von Spee and Stauffenberg and hello, Reichsgraf. They all get a hit in, so increasing their effectiveness. I can't believe these guys are still just, you know, ploughing on happily. I mean, the range is pretty close now. They are at 12,500 yards. That's enough to make me go, do you know what? I don't have to be that close. Why would be that close? So yeah. And the Scharnhorst here. Come here. These destroyers, I'm going to swing them round to the south a bit. Just check up on our friend. Fire is down to 1. Well done, Z87. Keep at it. Flooding is still 5, but I feel that they definitely are getting on top of the whole I've got a missile amidships situation. So yeah, I don't even think I need to worry about launching airstrikes, so I'm just going to let that go for the moment. I haven't seen any helicopter action. That was probably optimistic. I don't think the helicopters are really night capable. Well, I don't think they are at all, because I got warning messages saying they'll have to land at night. If anyone spots one, do let me know. I would be fascinated to see what they're up to. Actually, I suppose they might just appear somewhere around here. No, I'm not seeing any reported aircraft. Okay, so I've tried to ready these helicopters, and apparently they're all damaged. Oops! So they can't ready anything. I may have been over-optimistic in my helicoptering. I mean, I don't think they're really necessary. Just nice. So the Brits are turning away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits there. Breslau is launching torpedoes. Well, why not? Why wouldn't you? So, so this has actually resolved itself into an unidentified ship on fire. Unidentified. Just a pile of black smoke. Is that a second? That could be a second cruiser gone. I'm struggling to see many of the others, but we seem to be 1 cruiser and 3 destroyers now. The others have disappeared as far as I can see. I mean, radar range is way out here. So from multiple ships, we should be seeing more of them. Range is 11,000. Yeah, it doesn't need to be that close. So yeah, have a good time, boys. Oh, there go the torpedoes. Oh, I did do a strike. Do I want to adjust this final strike? No. I'm going to say no to that. Let's see if they come to do anything in particular. I think they're probably just a little bit late to the party, in all honesty. Yep, this cruiser is dead in the water. So you have this hero destroyer that's decided to chance its luck or something. Let's see if I can direct its gunnery not to them. Oh, I don't seem to be able to fire at them. Still, that seemed like a legitimate group to fire at. Let me see if I can grab a destroyer group. So I'm just bringing this destroyer screen down to deal with this. I imagine Königsberg and Stettin have got the measure of everything. Yeah, it looks like everybody was firing at this, what I'm going to call former ship here. And enemy aircraft approaching. Okay. I might leave these then. Oof, no. I was going to turn them onto screen, but they're intermixed with the guys anyhow, and they are focusing on this brave lone destroyer. So 4 goblins coming in. Yeah, we're still calling for cap from land-based air, but we're probably just too far away. So yeah, this might be a bit sticky because I'm not seeing any actual cap nearby. So fingers crossed, everybody. I'm going to say no to the strike. Let's just zoom in again. So they're focusing on this ship, which is nice. And they're focusing on that ship, which is nice. I haven't seen, where did the goblins go? I think that's a question we've all wanted to. Ah, right. So they're right overhead at the moment, which sort of implies they're not going to launch missiles, or perhaps they're going to launch missiles and have left it too late, or whatever. Okay. More hits on things. Let's just bring these destroyers down this way. Are these even moving? I suppose that's always a good test. Look at those just good old-fashioned torpedoes. Oh, just missed. Yeah, it's still moving. Okay, missiles launched at Scharnhorst. Oh, look, there's a Ju-226 Recon. That's a helicopter, which is nice. There's the torpedoes. So yeah, let's just see if good old Scharnhorst survives. Lots of hits from the big boys. And they seem to be struggling. Oh, they've started firing on them. Breslau is firing on them. Let's even them out a little bit because they've opened up the range to 10,000, which seems fine. And there's another helicopter recon. So the helicopters are reconning. Scharnhorst, missiles incoming, decoyed by countermeasures. Yes. Nothing like a bit of passive protection. And yeah, recon's taking off from some of the destroyers. So, I mean, they're doing the thing. I would love them to actually launch a little light missile, but possibly not. I'm going to bring down the speed of the cruisers a little bit. I bring down these to 25. They don't have to charge all over the place. This ship seems to have disappeared, which is probably a good thing. They're still firing at something invisible, but that's fine. And we're firing at this. Still going ship. Let's even out this guy. Oh, and there's one over there. So we can chase those down. Look, some escort. Oh, some escorts. I was going to say cap, but no, they're escorts. So fine. Well, if they happen to see the goblins, that there's some more goblins coming along, then that might be a thing. Okay, we've got the destroyers pummeling into some things which may or may not still be afloat. We have 4 enemy goblins launching missiles at Z135. Don't know where 135 is, but we have the Reichstag firing a couple of heavy SAMs, which destroys one and damages another. Stauffenberg launches 2 and misses. Königsberg launches a couple and misses, but Breslau launches 2 and damages 2. So good effort from the SAMs. And I'm just going to take a moment and see if I've got any more reports. So I do have this new report, which is actually where we are now. So that's really of no interest. I'm just going to check how far away we are from the carriers. So we are here, and the carriers are there. And that's 100 nautical miles. So my concern is obviously, we'll hoover these last things up, but we're not really seeing targets, and we are quite a far away. Well, we're too far away from land-based cap, essentially. So I think I want to move the boys back a bit in order to bring them back into cap range, given that there's no actual thing to see here. So yeah, I'm going to turn around and bring them that kind of way. I could turn these guys around a little bit as well, just to open that distance. We've got strike aircraft. I will turn them towards the enemy when I can see the enemy, but so far this is the only enemy I can see. So we will carry on with them. Let's just see. Yep, same as before. And we're approaching them. I'm going to say no. So I sort of hope that they will be finishing off. I'm going to put these back onto AI so that they conform with the battle cruisers a little bit. So we've got these 2 destroyers. I'd like to finish those off, just, for completeness sake. If they, have stuff, they're missile carriers. Getting rid of missile carriers is a good thing. They're still firing away at something there. Okay, our planes are shooting at somebody. Which is all fine. And let's bring that round. So we have a helicopter strike that we could use. Right. Ooh, oh no, enemy. Enemy is fine. Nope. Just check reports again. So again, just the same as usual. We still seem to be shooting at something that I can't see, but they can see. I don't know what that is. So that's on fire. That's on fire. I think those are the only two I can actually see. They've decided to open the range. So yeah, we're just following up. Missiles incoming. Countermeasures. Shot down by radar guided medium AA. Well done. Guided AA. So that was the 109. So I think I'm going to take these and pop these back onto screen and put them into a screening formation and put them back onto AI control so they go back, and I, no idea what these people think they're shooting at. But missiles coming from some of these air units. I'm going to bring the battle cruisers up to say 25, which is fast, but not ridiculously fast. So yeah. More stuff, but this is all around here. So I think it's probably time to reverse course for the Scharnhorst as well. And for these destroyers, Scharnhorst is doing 25, so the destroyers, let's just make them do 28 just so that they catch up. And yeah, that will all be good. Consolidate the force. I think we've done enough. If the air guys pick up something, that would be great. They're still shooting at something. Some of the destroyers are reloaded, so that's good to know if we pick up anything else. I'm just going to simplify some of these reports because obviously some of them are nonsense and some of them are very, very old. Okay, so I've got rid of old reports, and as you can see, the only reports are in and around this area where obviously we've intercepted the British cruiser destroyer force. So there's no other forces showing at the moment. It's 9:40 in the evening. We've got another 6 hours and 20 minutes of the nighttime, and we're slightly under halfway through the time allotted for the battle, and I'm just going to speed up. Well, let's just take a little bit of care around this, see what's happening. There are bits and bobs. I absolutely could finish off Sturm. I mean, Reichstag just thinks it's hit something. Reichsgraf, sorry. But it's this mystery thing here that is invisible to normal human eyes. And we've still got some planes coming in, so they might do some high quality mopping up. Essentially, we've got the one damaged ship here, 87, and I'm, fingers crossed. We're quite a long way from home, but it would be nice. Yeah, Reichsgraf hit something. Reichsgraf hit something again. Launching missiles at a heavy cruiser. I don't think so. I mean, wonderful if that was true. Breslau is still thinking it's hitting something, which is, is nice. Carry on, boys. They're not shooting at anything. They're not shooting anything. So yeah, more hits and launching of missiles. So a couple of missiles hit, wherever that is, whomever that is. Let me just zoom in to our brave boys here. Yeah, that's the Breslau. So they're hitting something I can't see here. I'm going to say it must be more missiles reloaded, which is all good things. Here come the screens just to beef up the battlecruiser's screen, which is nice. I've brought the battlecruisers down to 20 knots. So yeah, mainly I can't see anything. Let's put these guys onto AI. And really we just want the Scharnhorst to catch up, which it should do. And then we can reform. Still being spotted by enemy aircraft. And some of we only did these small strikes, but here's some jet attacks coming in and thinking they can see somebody. So if they can, that's fine. So there's an enemy cruiser hit by a missile and a destroyer. So all good stuff. I mean, you know what airmen are like. Oh yeah, no, we totally destroyed it. It was a battleship, absolutely. Okay, and we're still approaching stuff. So yeah, there's still strikes. I mean, this is kind of like a nice use for the planes. I'm not sure they're actually adding any value, and you know these targets that they think they're hitting don't seem to be turning up on actual radar. But you know, if they're helping to slide some enemy ships back under the sea, fine. And yeah, that's all good. See, another. And 4. Better for the aeroplanes to let these lot off than to use my precious ship ones. I'm just going to turn the Breslau from support to scout and from line ahead to search line, just to increase our visibility to the front. Here comes Scharnhorst. So I think I'm going to push it up from a minute at a time to 5 minutes at a time, given the action is receding. And I mean, it is possible, so we're just over halfway, that essentially there's not much else to do. There's the Scharnhorst coming back. So we're going to put them into AI control as well. We're going to hit the game speed, because I thought that's very slow. Yes, it's because you've forgotten to do that. Let's just see where we are in terms of the carriers. So it's now 95, which is fine. Yeah. So we're still being spotted. So friendly cap shoots down a goblin. Hooray. The helicopters are returning from their recons. So it does work. Let's hope they can land without any to-do. Yep, they landed. Hooray. Enemy aircraft approaching Flug 1. Ooch. Okay. Let's go to here. That's odd. I'm pretty much sure I told it to go the other way, but obviously it must be launching planes and such stuff. So, we're in there and we've damaged 2 goblins and shot down a 3rd. I mean, who would be a goblin pilot? Another 2 damaged by the cap. Another shot down by the cap. I mean, yeah, the cap, the mighty cap here, although there are less, as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, there's just tons of cap, and this is medium cap. So I mean, this is the joy of having big carriers with big air wings. I just want to reverse the course a little bit. So, and yeah, nothing happened with that little attack. We dealt with that fine. Enemy aircraft approaching the battle cruisers. So here we are. Okay, so that's some nice SAM work there from Stauffenberg. 2 heavy SAMs each. 1 destroyed 2 aircraft and 1 damaged 2 aircraft. I suppose that's part of the gift of the heavy SAM. They've got a heavy warhead and they can take out more than 1 plane. Unfortunately, 4 enemy missiles have been launched at DD1, which is here. So let's hope that survives from these goblins over there. And nothing much to report. Well, a few minutes at a time, and yeah, okay, nothing there. The new reports. So just a destroyer. It's 11:30 now, so about 4 hours to go, and as you can see, that's a long time. So it's still very much looking like this pathetic cruiser destroyer force was the only force in town. So yeah, distance from the carriers is 80 nautical miles. So yeah, I'm liking that. And let's just have a look at here. Well, the fire's out, actually. So well done. It's just the flooding is a concern now. So fire spreads, damage control, reduced, extinguished. The 2 fires extinguished. So yeah, great. So hopefully they can get on top of the flooding, because obviously that's a concern now. And let's move it up to 5 minutes. They might not make it back. 87 with 50% flotation damage. Now, I'm going to say we've probably come to the end of the battle. Sea state limits ship speed. Let's just go and see what that might be. 22 knots. Okay. So let's bring everything. Everything should be on cruise now, really. There's no reason for rushing around. And then suddenly. So we have 2 carriers reported here and 3 carriers reported there, wherever there is. Let's move it over here and then just press that. So, question. So that is about 58 nautical miles. So for the first thing is, from there, but obviously is more extended, 106. And if we go to, look at all that. That's insane. I might have to lower the cap to low. I mean, that's just a ridiculous amount of cap. So the distance of these reports is 165, 170. I mean, that's definitely strikeable. I'm not going to send the battle cruisers back. That's a little bit too far, I think, but that's certainly worthwhile. So actually, first of all, I'm just going to make the cap light. It just seems an insanely heavy amount of cap. So let's just, well, I don't know. Let's keep it at medium. I'd be embarrassed if I'd lowered it to cap and then suddenly there was a strike and then, you know, stuff happened. So we do have some readies. So select readies. Okay, just a few. And let's go to a target. And let's say these 2 CVs is a good first target. Obviously, we're going to 180 nautical miles. Do that. They will arrive. It is currently 1:40. They will arrive at 3:58. Obviously, if we coordinate that, that will take it out for hours. Ridiculous. So we will launch that strike. Nope, 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 nope. And then I'll auto ready a second set of strikes. Let me just get rid of small formations. So auto launch, sorry, not auto launch, auto ready. These guys. So because this was showing only one carrier thing, but I happen to know there's a second one. On Fluke 2, we also have some readies, so let's select the ready. I wish these were in order. I mean, ready strike should be the first one after auto, and then all the rest. Nonsense. Anyhow, and yeah, same lot, same way. I think so. Let's take those off, and let's, if we coordinate those two, that's only, so we'll coordinate them by carrier. So let's launch them, and then they are also ready, and let's launch them. Fluke 3 doesn't have anybody, so they also need to do a little bit of readying of the strike. Okay, so it's a bit of a wish and a prayer, but you know, that's fine. Let's see. So this one, okay. Let's just press it on 1 minute. And I'm going to go back to the whole strike situation. They must have people. Have we auto strike them? Let's auto strike them. And there's the 3 carrier one. So we'll launch at them. They're 160. We will coordinate by carrier. So let's ready and launch them. And ready and launch them. Fluke 3, we'll wait. And indeed, the second load of readying ones, we will wait. Okay, I'm going to bring it up 5 minutes at a time to just see if we can get a better report. So there's another report. Okay, so there's one there, and one there. So dum. So that is a small carrier force of 2 or maybe 3 carriers with 6, 8, or 9 destroyers. So yeah, now sea state is limiting the speed, which is fine. That's another reason not to attempt to bring the battle cruisers over. They just wouldn't have the speed to chase it down. And I'm pushing it 5 minutes at a time. There's another carrier report, this time a CVL, sort of in the same area. What, Z89 can't keep up. Let's just check on him. So just Z89 here, got 20% damage, which is only and solely because of the engines. So its maximum speed is 18 knots. Let's just bring that down to, say, 12 knots and send it home. Don't have to worry about that too much. It's just an insane amount of cap. It really is. Right. back to 5 minutes pushing along. So some of the readies are coming along. Do I want to adjust the final? I'm going to say no. That seems, roughly in the area of where we need to be looking. So I'm going to say no. And no. So let's see if good things happen.